hey. Hey, y'all, hey. It's a lot going on today. And I don't have enough time in the day for all of it. So it is what it is. Let me get in where I fit in real quick. And my plan is to be back later. That's my plan. So come on in, y'all. Come on in. Let's go. We got to talk about old Diddy. He can't handle that heat. He can't. Diddy can't handle that heat, baby. He ain't ready, though. He ain't learned nothing. And it's too much going on. Too many criminal cases. Too much of all of that going on. We gonna keep it real. Can we keep it real? Can we keep it real? Too much going on. Talking about the conditions. Yeah. You weren't thinking about them conditions when you was doing all that. Sean Diddy comes. P. Diddy. Doodoo Diddy. Let me set it like this. Trying to read this. Diddy wasn't thinking about none of that when he was beating on women, forcing them to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, he didn't think about none of that. He was just trying to get his freak out. Just like the rest of them. President, anything about none of that. Trying to get his freak out. Freak on, freak out, whatever, same thing. Didn't think about none of the consequences. Thought you was set. Thought you was straight. Thought you was covered, protected. Now you like, please take this 50 mil. I'm sorry. 50 mil. Please take this 50 mil. Sean Diddy comes. Legal team files motion for pre-sentencing release. Yeah, so what do you think is different now than before when he denied it? Because the conditions in that jail is horrible. Yeah. Pissing in people's mouth was horrible too, wasn't it? What else is coming? Oh my God, I can't get a break. I can't catch a break. Legal team has moved to release in a motion filed on Tuesday the 29th and addresses the judge. Yeah, lawyers argue that the client should not be behind bars after he was found not guilty. Yeah, but he still got an anger. I thought hey Cynthia, I thought he was getting rehab. I thought he was in there going to classes to teach him how to be not violent. You ain't learn nothing. Because once you get out, you ain't going to do nothing. You going to start back up. You don't want to be in there because I'm going to tell you why you really don't want to be in there. If we keep it real, because Trump and you scared your name on that list and you don't want the names on Epstein list to come out while you in there, baby. Because if it come out while you locked up, you know you ain't getting out. See, you thought all that firing, combing, yeah, firing her and Trump talking about pardoning, all of this, and then these motions, and you know, and they are requesting they're going about ways of finding the release. I can't think of the act that they have figured out a way to get them documents. Yeah, you don't want your bottom line. You don't want your name to come up and out while you locked up before sentencing. And I do believe that if they let Diddy out, this is just my opinion, You gonna do a Epstein. If they let you out before your sentencing, you are going to do an Epstein. You can't handle it. Let me say it one more time for the one time. You cannot handle prison. You thought you was gangster. You thought you was hood. Somebody done tried to get in your room. You done got some threats. You done got some something. And you know just as good as well, when that list comes out, if your name pops up, baby, and we already know your name gonna pop up. See, y'all thought y'all was slick in firing Comey. Maureen, I told the people that Florida was coming, and you, Epstein, Trump, Mac, all y'all, Jay-Z, all y'all was finna get caught up and hemmed up. You thought the coast was clear. He needs to stay, and absolutely, you gonna pull, okay, Tomb, I don't care. I don't care neither one way. I don't care neither way. I know he ain't man enough to stay in there and deal with his consequences. I know that, Tombe, Mambe, yeah. Duty eat, booty eater, umbe, yeah. I know that. I know he can't handle what he ditch out. I know that. How about that? Yeah, he got to come home because he's scared. Yeah, his home is prison. It should be for life. Yeah. He ain't about that life. He is not about that life. Yeah. He about inflicting that on other people. Yeah, but he ain't about that life. You see what I'm saying? He can't handle what he did, child. I said it once and I will say it again. Okay, that's against the law. On multiple counts. Okay, so he in jail for prostitution. That's against the law. That ain't legal. It ain't legal. And he took him across state lines. It's a federal offense. So you said that to say what? He still need to go to jail. There are people in jail for prostitution, pimping. One guy not too long ago got 30 years. What you saying? Stop breaking the law. He is disciplined, and he locked that ass up. Should be disciplined. See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all want people to bend over and break the rules for Diddy? So you are all up in his butt too. I see. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. What is wrong with y'all people all up in another man's butt? Lord have mercy. Where they get you from? So you're an ass eater too. Yeah. Okay. Come back another day. Let me go and time you out. Because I see now you just trolling. He can't handle what he did, y'all. Yeah, nah. He ain't no, he is not no, let me listen. I was, yeah, nah, he can't handle what he did, y'all. Can't none of them. He ain't about that life. He thought he was, though. He thought he was. Wrong answer. He thought he was. Until reality hit him. Hold on. Where was I just listening to this at? Y'all, when I tell y'all I'm all over the place, I am all over the place. And we got quit for Dolph. He went up in court today, and I'm gonna have to come back later on old Trump with his wannabe slick. He is one trifling ass man. Thank you, Janet, for the floating hearts. Thank you, thank you. Let's hear this.
All right, guys. So this was just filed moments ago. So it's breaking right now. Diddy's legal team has submitted a request to the judge asking for bail again for Diddy. You guys remember he was denied bail while awaiting his sentencing, which is going to happen on October 3rd, because the judge said that Diddy was a danger to the community because of all the violence and just his disregard for the law that they felt like went down. Now, so here's what they're saying. Really quick, they're saying that they have this new bail package that the judge should consider because of three things. Most people convicted of the same charges, the two men at counts that Diddy are convicted of, are let go prior to their sentencing, and they provide a bunch of case law that shows you other instances where people in Diddy's position have been able to be released while they await the sentencing. One of the things that they point out is that they claim that Diddy was not a direct customer of the acts. So they're saying
That don't mean
even though
nothing.
there were these escorts and all these things happened, Diddy himself did not have sex with the men that were hired to come and have
He
spend time
tried
with
to.
his girlfriends. It was just a part of the lifestyle that they did, but his girlfriends at the time, Jane and Cassie, were the only people who benefited from the services. So
That guy
he
said he
shouldn't be
tried
a
to.
person that is behind bars.
So he paid for the escort service, not the sex, they're trying to say.
Yeah, but they're also just saying too, it's rare that you see in any of the cases that they've provided a person who hasn't benefited from this whole ring that you're alleging be behind bars, especially while awaiting sentencing. So they're trying to make that point and comparing it to other cases. They also mentioned
That
that
logic don't make no sense though, because if I buy a kilo of cocaine, it don't matter what I do with it. I still bought the kilo of cocaine. I don't have to sell it. I don't have to use it, but I bought it.
But
Well,
I
they're
guess
not
he's trying to
arguing
say is he bought the prostitute.
If I bought it and
the
gave it to you,
escort.
I'm still guilty.
But he's saying he bought the escort for comforting service. He didn't have sex with the escort. I guess that's what
It
they're
don't
trying
matter.
to say.
It don't matter.
Prostitute, you still pay for the prostitute.
But they're not arguing because what you guys are arguing kind of goes more toward is he guilty of it or not. And they're not arguing that it didn't happen. They're saying it happened, but because he didn't directly benefit,
It ain't about if you benefit from it or not. You still broke the law.
What about this semen that I rubbed on my nipples
That was a
from
benefit.
said prostitute?
That was a
Oh
bit.
my God.
Well,
Allegedly.
therapeutic. They also claim that views on sex have changed because the Mann Act is so old. It's 115 years old.
It's still on the
Created
books.
back in 1910. So because of the way the views on sex have changed, maybe things like the
It should be enhanced.
should not be considered in who benefited and
By the
what.
way, I do think Diddy
They
should
don't
have.
directly
I
succeed.
do think Diddy should have a bond. I thought he should have.
He's a danger. He's a threat to society. He gonna start.
Really?
He gonna pick. He was already planning a party, a freak off.
That you thought that
Don't
was
ask me.
He was already planning a freak off when he thought he was getting out on the 4th of July.
You know,
The big
found not
charges
guilty
with
on all
felonies.
the big charges. Yes, you should have a bond.
Well, the third reason that they mention on here is that, well, we talked about this. They're just backing up the claims that Diddy did not have sex with the men that he hired. His girlfriends did. So, yeah, this was...
Yeah, because he was pimping them out. He's still a pimp.
The latest with Lauren Rose of the podcast, because I got this walking in the room. But wanted to let you guys know that this was going down. And we kind of predicted this when we talked about the prosecutor being fired. Remember, we mentioned, like, maybe at this point now his team will try again because the prosecutor at the time, who was Comey, the lead prosecutor, was like, he don't need to come home. And they did everything they could to convince the judge. And
But
it
it's
worked.
the judge. It's not
Yes.
the prosecutor.
But I do think that there's going to be some conversation around how things were positioned to the judge based on how the prosecutors presented their case.
The judge is probably going to say he's still not taking accountability for what he was
Yeah,
doing.
no, he needs to sit there.
Prostitute, you still pay for the prostitute.
But they're not arguing because what you guys are arguing kind of goes more toward is he guilty of it or not. And they're not arguing that it didn't happen. They're saying it happened, but because he didn't directly benefit, he shouldn't be the person behind bars right now while he awaits the sentencing.
What about
Because in other
this semen?
cases,
What about this semen that I rubbed on my nipples?
That was a
from
Y'all
said
listen.
prostitute?
That was a bit.
Oh my God.
well, therapeutic.
Listen.
They also claim that views
When
on
a
sex have
person-
changed because the Mann
When a
Act
person buys, with the drugs, they don't necessarily use the drugs when they buy. Stop breaking the law if y'all can't handle the consequences. Stop trying to be a pimp if you can't handle getting caught up and charged in the consequences of it. Stop. He thought that he was above the law. Somebody, some higher up, have gave the okay to let you sit and rot in jail. And you know it's about to go down again if your name is on that list. And you know your name is on the Epstein list because you duplicated everything that he did. Let's be clear. Let's be absolutely clear. You want to get out. I mean, you never wanted to be in there, but you are pressing now because it's going to be August, September, October. Okay, cool. You've been there all this time. You know that this panic right here is because you know GHISLAINE Maxwell gave up 100 people, and you one of them. You know that they are going above and beyond to get now not just the documents of Epstein. They want the records of the conversation recording with GHISLAINE as well as oversight committee. Giselle seeks to postpone Epstein testimony before the oversight committee. Yeah, they trying to get all of the list, all of them, and you know you on there, and you don't want to get caught, locked up when all of that come out. You just don't want to. I don't blame you. I wouldn't either. I don't blame you. But you need to be locked up when it all come out. He is going to continue his actions. He absolutely is going to continue. I totally agree. There is no reform. He feels like he is above reform. And they are moving quickly to expose GHISLAINE, Epstein, Trump, and Diddy. You gonna fall up in that category as well. And you know that Comey knew that. You knew that. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Okay, y'all. So let me see about this. Let me see. Let me hear this. So let's be clear. Let's finish this. We got some things going on with her, as well as Quick went back to court again
on the
today.
Epstein case, let's jump to CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand at the White House.
She asked
Natalie,
for the
good morning
Supreme
to you.
Court to
So we should let our
overturn.
viewers know that President Trump was asked whether he would consider pardoning Jeffrey Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's just quickly show his response.
It's saying
Well,
that
I'm allowed to
Maxwell
give a report,
offers
but
to
I
testify before
We have
Congress.
some breaking news into CNN. Jeffrey Epstein, accomplice and convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell, is offering to testify before Congress, but her lawyers say she has a list of demands before she talks to them. CNN's Elena Tree is with us now. Quite the list of demands here, Elena.
Yeah, and I would put it this way, too. I mean, remember, the House Oversight Chairman, James Comer, had subpoenaed her to testify.
He's afraid of this as well.
Now from her lawyers, this is what they had sent to the Oversight Committee. They essentially said that initially that they had decided to invoke her Fifth Amendment rights, of course, saying that she wouldn't want to comply or answer their questions. But then they changed their minds, they said, and are now saying that she will accept this subpoena, comply with the subpoena on many different conditions. I'm just going to walk through some of those for you, Brianna. So one of them is a grant of formal immunity. I think that's, of course, the top line here, that what they're really looking for in exchange for any sort of transparency or answers from Epstein's accomplice. They also had that the interview can't happen at the correctional facility where she's currently serving out her sentence. They went on to say that to prepare adequately for any congressional deposition and to ensure the accuracy and fairness, they would require the committee's questions in advance. Again, something that the committee does not normally, if ever, do. And then it went on to say that the interview should only be scheduled after the resolution of her case pending before the Supreme Court, where she's asking for her conviction to be overturned. Now, we did already get a response from the Oversight Committee here in the House, a spokesperson for them saying that the Oversight Committee will respond to Ms. Maxwell's attorney soon, but it will not consider granting congressional immunity for her testimony. Brianna, we've now heard this a lot from many different Republicans on Capitol Hill, but also Democrats as well, that they do not want to consider immunity in order to get answers from Ghislaine Maxwell. And so it's still very much unclear where this would go from here. What was also interesting, though, in this letter from Maxwell's attorneys to the House Oversight Committee, they also said that the demands could not be met. She would have no choice but to invoke her Fifth Amendment right. But then they said, kind of ending it with an appeal to President Donald Trump for clemency. They said that if Ms. Maxwell were to receive clemency, she would be willing and eager to testify. All to say, look, there's been a lot of attention, of course, on what Ghislaine Maxwell knows as this Epstein case continues to receive so much attention. We know that the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, interviewed her over 2 days last week. We've still gotten no insight into what exactly the Justice Department might have gleaned from those interviews, but it's very key or clear that she is key to hopefully getting some more answers here, but a lot of people nervous about what it actually means to try and make any sort of deal or give any sort of concessions in order for her testimony, Brianna.
Yeah, and indicted for perjury in the past, we should note as well.
Right.
Elena Train, thank you so much for the very latest there. We're joined by Ankush Kardori, a former federal prosecutor. Okay, first, let's start with that last bit of what Maxwell's lawyer is talking about. What issues of at least perceived funny business does this raise when you have Maxwell's lawyer talking about how, she'll testify fully if there's clemency, as the president is not ruling out pardoning her?
If you've been diagnosed with kidney cancer, liver cancer, testicular cancer, or ulcerative colitis, stop scrolling right now. You may be owed significant financial compensation.
Wait, are you saying these diseases are linked to PFAS?
Yes. PFAS chemicals have been in your drinking water for years, and studies now show a direct link to these diseases.
And people are already getting compensated?
Thousands have filed claims and are waiting for their results, but most people don't even know they qualify.
So how do they check?
Click below now. It's 100% free, takes just 30 seconds, and there's no obligation. But time is running out. Claims are being filed fast.
If you or a loved one has kidney cancer, liver cancer, testicular cancer, or ulcerative colitis.
Sorry.
There's clemency, as the president is not ruling out pardoning her.
There are no Diddy victims.
Yeah, well, it looks like
Yeah, that's your opinion.
her lawyer is proceeding somewhat strategically and trying to facilitate a pardon. I have to say, to the folks in Congress who
I hope your mama,
helped to
sister,
create
kids
this,
don't ever
this is
get
what
caught
happens
up.
when you give a criminal and all-around garbage human being leverage over you. They start creating lists of demands that make you look foolish if you accede to them. They should never have gone down this path. The Justice Department should not be working with her. She has no credibility. She's in prison for 20 years on heinous charges.
Yeah, and she
And
got
has a
Diddy's
whole host of
name on that
incentives to lie
list.
or shade the truth. If I were still in government, I would
She
not
got
trust this
Diddy's
woman.
name
I would
on
not
that
touch her with a
list,
10-foot
and that's
pole.
for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because a lot of that seems to be missing sometimes from the conversation. There are a lot of details in this case, right? It is complicated, but there is no
Hey,
Jeffrey
listen.
Epstein operation
Y'all come in here
without
like buck.
Ghislaine Maxwell not just normalizing the situation for the girls who were victimized, but recruiting them as well. So you call her a garbage human being. Why?
because what she did was heinous and awful, and she traumatized many young women, and they're going to live with that trauma for the rest of their lives. And one of the particularly offensive elements of the Justice Department entertaining this, Republicans in Congress entertaining this, is that she has victims, and those victims have to watch all of this unfold and have to watch them pretending like this woman has some credibility and potentially some information that may be valuable, despite all appearances, and despite the fact that she has never once cooperated with the government up until this time. She was charged with 2 different counts of perjury that fortunately for her were dropped after a sex trafficking.
Let me stop that and pick this back up. Diddy is afraid that his name is on that list. Let's be clear.
It's rare that you see in any of the cases that they've provided a person who hasn't benefited from this whole ring that you're alleging be behind bars, especially while awaiting sentencing. So they're trying to make that point and comparing it to other cases. They also mentioned that
logic don't make no sense though, because if I buy a kilo of cocaine, it don't matter what I do with it. I still bought the kilo of cocaine. I don't have to sell it. I don't have to use it, but I bought it.
But I guess he's trying to say is he bought the prostitute.
If I bought it and gave it to you, I'm still guilty.
But he's saying he bought the escort for comforting service. He didn't have sex with the escort. I guess
It
that's
don't
what y'all
matter.
saying.
You still paid for the prostitute. You still paid for the prostitute.
but they're not arguing because what you guys are arguing kind of goes more toward is he guilty of it or not, and they're not arguing that it didn't happen. They're saying it happened,
I
but
don't
because
care. Don't
he
bring
didn't
up
directly
TMZ over here.
benefit, he shouldn't be the person behind bars right now while he awaits the
I don't
sentencing.
care
Because in
about what
other
TMZ
cases,
done
About the
said.
semen that I rubbed on my nipple.
who
That was
knows?
I said prostitute.
That was a
Oh my God.
well,
Allegedly.
therapeutic. They also claim that
Yeah,
views on sex
stop.
have changed because the Mann Act is so old. It's 115 years old. It was
It's
created
still
back
on
in
the books.
1910. So because of the way the views on sex have changed, maybe things like the semen on the nipple should not be considered in who benefited in
By
what
the way,
ways.
I do think Diddy
They
should
don't
have.
directly
I
succeed.
do think Diddy should have a bond. I thought he should have had a bond a long time ago. I'm just simply saying that argument.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like you thought
Yeah,
that.
everybody changing up
I didn't
now.
think that you thought
Hey,
that.
don't
when you-
ask me.
I would say I always said that he should have had a bond, but yeah, I still,
Especially after he got,
The big
found not
charges
guilty
with
on all
the-
those big charges. And yes, you should have a bond.
Well, the third reason that they mention on here is that, we talked about this. They're just backing up the claims that Diddy did not have sex with the men that he hired. His girlfriends did. This was literally just filed. I'll actually be doing a deeper dive into this on the latest with Lauren Rose of the podcast because I got this walking in the room. But wanted to let you guys know that this was going down. And we kind of predicted this when we talked about the prosecutor being fired. Remember, we mentioned like maybe at this point now his team will try again because the prosecutor at the time, who was Comey, the lead prosecutor, was like, he don't need to come home. And they did everything they could to convince the judge. And
But
it
it's
worked.
the judge. It's not the prosecutor.
But I do think that there's going to be some conversation around how things were positioned to the judge based on how the prosecutors presented their case.
The judge is probably going to say he's still not taking accountability for
Facts.
what he was found guilty for.
Because he got
Potentially.
people
That's what the
making
judge is going to say. The
excuses
judge
for
say
him.
they're still trying to do workarounds. Like
Potentially.
at some point, you're going to have to show some type of accountability if you're looking for leniency from the judge.
Yeah, especially because the judge was very direct in saying, it's not just how the prosecutors feel and what they think should happen, but he directly pointed out some of the things that happened while Diddy was awaiting to turn himself in at the hotel here in New York with things being set up in the room and all those things. So we'll have to kind of wait to see.
yeah, but is he looking for leniency or is he looking for the law, right? Because at the law, they haven't had any case where anybody has hired a prostitute and has been in jail without a bond for over a year. Because that's what he found guilty of, hiring a prostitute and carrying them on state lines. And anybody that has had that for their first time offense has all gotten a bond, has not done this much time. So the judge can say that, but it's supposed to be what's fair in the court of law, right?
Yeah, on page 2 of the document, when they talk about the exceptional reasons why he should be released, because remember they mentioned the only reason he would get a bond in this situation if it was exceptional is that they say in the history of the Mann Act statute, in the history of the Mann Act, there has never been facts presented this way to incarcerate any other person. So basically, we've
never seen
from
this
the
before.
cases that they're providing, they don't see. But what will happen is the other side will go and try and find more cases to go back at what.
But they tried, and
see
they
and
couldn't
say.
find a case where a person has hired a prostitute has been in this jail this long and has never got a bond.
But Diddy still don't have a bond though, so it worked. So again, this is
All
just
I'm
them shooting
hearing-
their shot.
All I'm hearing is trouble is easy to get into and
Hard
hard to get out of.
Pause.
That's what my parents used to always say. My dad used to always say that. Trouble is easy to get into and hard to get out of.
And before I go real quick, y'all, let's go here. And then I'll be back later. I gotta make a run real quick. Let's go here. Developing.
So that is the reason why they didn't know I was here.
My understanding. After
Quick.
waiting all day, that defense attorney offered a possible explanation as to why news media was not allowed today into a courtroom at 201
Or
Poplar
yesterday.
inside a pre-trial hearing for...
Is the reason why they didn't allow us in.
My understanding.
After waiting all day, that defense attorney offered a possible explanation as to why news media was not allowed today into a courtroom at 201 Poplar inside a pre-trial hearing for one of the men charged for the murder of rapper YOUNGDOLPH.
Prosecutors believe Hernandez Govan connected the shooters with the alleged plot to kill the Memphis rapper in 2021. Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson joins us live tonight down at 201 Poplar.
So Daniel, that court just released, they just let out, and now we're closer to understanding why no one was allowed inside.
Yes, defense attorney told me that he believes it was because the judge wants a fair trial for his client. More on that here in just a second. But yeah, it was something that is pretty unusual. My photographer got here this morning and take a look. Was not able to get into the courtroom. The DA, District Attorney's Office, told us that they were kind of caught by surprise as well. But we know that in court today, they were supposed to discuss several motions. Most were a matter of procedure, but one that stood out to me was the defense saying the state's investigation doesn't support first-degree murder charges. Another asked the court dismiss the case because Govan's attorneys claim most of the evidence against him is based on the words of others who are charged. Now, as I said, court let out just a few moments ago. I asked defense attorney why we weren't allowed in the courtroom. This was his explanation.
I think the court is correct in doing it this way so the jury pool doesn't get tainted. I think it's fair, so I'm not going to comment.
So that is the reason why they didn't allow us in?
My understanding, she doesn't have to give me any rationale. The court does what the court thinks is best. I respect it.
Ms. Govan, can you give us a comment? What we do know at this point is that according to that defense attorney for Govan, that they had 16 motions altogether to consider. They did 10 of those today, and I'm told they will be back in the morning to do the remaining 6. Meanwhile, a trial is scheduled for the end of August, around August the 18th. Daryl.
Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson live at 201 Poplar. Daniel, thank you.
Okay, y'all, I'll be back. I gotta run an errand. Quit probably about to tell
Daniel
on.
Wilkerson joins us live tonight
He
down at
probably
201
about to
Poplar.
tell
So Daniel,
on.
that court just released, they just let out,
Got it.
and now we're closer to understanding why no one was allowed inside.
The defense attorney told me that he believes it was because the judge wants a fair trial for his client. More on that here in just a second. But yeah, it was something that is pretty unusual. My photographer got here this morning and take a look. Was not able to get into the courtroom. The DA, District Attorney's Office, told us that they were kind of caught by surprise as well. But we know that in court today, they were supposed to discuss several motions. Most were a matter of procedure, but one that stood out to me was the defense saying the state's investigation doesn't support first-degree murder charges. Another asked the court dismiss the case because Govan's attorneys claim most of the evidence against him is based on the words of others who are charged. Now, as I said, court let out just a few moments ago. I asked defense attorney why we weren't allowed in the courtroom. This was his explanation.
I think the court is correct in doing it this way so the jury pool doesn't get tainted. I think it's fair, so I'm not
Jury
gonna comment.
pool
So that
won't
is the
get
reason
tainted.
why they didn't allow us
That's
in?
my understanding. She doesn't have to give me any rationale. The court does what the court thinks is best. I respect it.
So trying to stop from not having no excuses.
What we do know at this point is that according to that defense attorney for Govan, that they had 16 motions altogether to consider. They did 10 of those today, and I'm told they will be back in the morning to do the remaining 6. Meanwhile,
Okay,
a
y'all,
trial
I'll be
is
back.
scheduled for the end of August, around August the 18th. Daryl.
Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson live at 201 Poplar. Daniel, thank you.